Let's see. Huh, what is that back there? What up, man? What up, bro? How you been? Um, Dang, lighting is always so important. It's amazing how stuff doesn't get proper light and it just messes everything up. You are the first person. There we go. Okay. Okay, can we get another light in here? There we go. Good grief. People can't really see much though with this setup. It's just I like to sit down. Alhambra exclusive tobacco. Oh yeah. What's up, boys? What y'all up to? I'm gonna have to stand this up. I don't like this view. This view is not good for my viewers. Give me 2 seconds, guys. We'll have to use like my little booster seat. Yeah, this is just gonna be the best for now. Oh shoot! Sorry, guys. There we go. How are we now? What's up? What's up? We got sound now, right? Good now? Guys, I don't know how this happens to me. It gets like that. Was it muted from the beginning or did it just randomly go mute? That'd be helpful to know. Oh, muted when it fell. You guys ever had candy grapes? I'm going to get some stick lights that go in here so I can pop these on so you guys can see everything. Because, like, ideally, guys, I would love for it to look like this when you guys see my fragrances. You know, like, that's the view you guys should get. Lit up fragrances. You can see the whole stash. You know, you should be able to see it like that. But unfortunately, until I get lights in there, I'm going to try to hang my camera from the ceiling. That'll help. And then I'm going to get some lighting for these shelves. Yeah. It's just, and technically I do have lighting, like, I do have some kits I could set up, but they're not ideal. I need to like actually go buy them. What y'all got for me, man? What y'all got? We dropped Mind Games this week. We dropped, oh, the new Scent Bubble intro drops tomorrow. New sound effects drop tomorrow. Vetiver Sensual, baby. All you need in your life. All you need. Do you have Azzaro Most Wanted Parfum? No, but I would recommend it to anybody. I have it, just not the bottle. I have a decant. In my collection currently, it's not necessary, but I'm a big fan of Most Wanted Parfum and Wanted by Night Parfum. Those are the only two from the Azzaro line that I would say are blind buy worthy. But as far as DNAs, I have plenty of DNAs that go toe to toe with that. So in my collection, I don't just have fragrances if they're good. They have to beat out existing ones that I have. Sup, Todd? Divine Asylum? What house carries Divine Asylum? You mean Fraghead's Asylum? Prada Luna Rosa Ocean Le Parfum. Oh, Le Parfum. Yeah, those are two different fragrances, Danny. Le Parfum is awesome. Le Parfum is a better version of Mancera Red Tobacco. If you're talking about the bottle with the red glass top, that is a much better rendering of Mancera's Red Tobacco. Most Wanted Parfum is a different, more seductive date night type fragrance. So they're two different vibes. It's not a matter of which one is better. Fragrance World Divine Asylum. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, Todd, this is the only Asylum clone that, Elysium clone that matters. FOMO Fragheads Asylum Extrait. That is the only Elysium clone that matters. Price, 25 and under. Bottle, 100 ml. Closeness to DNA, above 95%. Longevity beats out everything. I don't care if you have Imperium. I don't care if you have Trillium. I don't care if you have Divine Asylum. They do not beat this. Any day of the week, this goes toe to toe with actual Elysium. DNA wise, it smells the most sophisticated. It's the most beautiful rendering of Elysium. So yeah, when you talk about price to performance to accuracy to accessibility, not synthetic at all. It won't even remind you of a clone. Bottle presentation is really nice. Yeah, man. I mean, this, if you have this, you have all 5 of the. I mean, there's more than 5. I mean, even Yaman Lail had an Elysium clone that I tried last week. It was good. It was solid, but nonetheless, this is all you need, man. I personally feel like where Trillium, Imperium, and Divine Asylum fall short is there's a chart of either performance, quality, or price. Some of them have 1 of 3, some of them have 2 of 3, but none of them have all 3. I think it's just a matter of timing, Todd, because I got mine for $25 off of Fragrance by CA. Now, I know it might have gone up since then because it's receiving so much popularity, but I got mine for $25, and I would venture to say that in the right holiday context, where are we in? February right now? So there might still be some Valentine's Day sales that you need to just, whatever website you're looking at, go on Google and type, Joma Shop Valentine's Day, Micro Perfumes Valentine's Day, Fragrance by CA Valentine's Day, or just type in the fragrance and then put Valentine's Day. You got Cinco de Mayo. You got, just wait till the next holiday and it'll drop in price. Another recommendation is you can go on TikTok Shop, and if you've never purchased an item on TikTok Shop, typically you get a starter voucher for 30 to 45% off of any purchase. So yeah, do your digging and research on coupons because I think you could easily get it below $30 with free shipping. I got mine for $25, shipping included, off Fragrance Buy. However, you might just have to do a little bit of digging. But I'm going to tell you right now, guys, I don't care if you even have to pay $50 for FOMO Fragheads Asylum. It still is worth it because it beats everything out, and it is a phenomenal fragrance. It's a staple DNA, sophisticated, upscale, casual / playful date afternoon. I call it a sophisticated freshie, an expensive, luxurious, sophisticated freshie. Basket of citruses up top, amber, vetiver in the base. That DNA trumps all freshies. So Silver Mountain Water, Green Irish Tweed, and everything below that. It trumps Bulgari Tiger. And for that, I would pay top dollar for an Elysium clone because it's the superior fragrance at the niche level, and it is the most versatile fragrance for its category. So you'd want to pay the top dollar just to get access to the fragrance over lesser clones and inspirations. Because remember, it's a freshie. So the most important thing is accuracy of DNA and then performance. A freshie or a freshie with charm fragrance will struggle to go 8 hours minimum. And so paying the extra dollar to get an extrait is also something that makes a lot of sense in the freshie category so you don't burn through your juice. Best perfumes under $20. Oh man, there's no clue. There's too many to count. You give me a genre like, freshie, gym frag, date night, whatever. You give me a genre, I'll give you a $20 or less fragrance that is a smash. I'm not just going to fire off random ones. We got to have some context here. Yeah, definitely keep on the lookout, Todd. You know, if you can get that fragrance with shipping under 35 bucks, I would snag it up, man. It is in my collection just on this wall. When we look at fresh, luxurious, sophisticated smelling fragrances for spring, summer, I would throw Lalique White in there. You got Acqua di Gio Armani. Grey Vetiver might be a soft exception. Halloween Man, La Nuit de l'Homme. This Bentley Momentum Unlimited is really nice spring, summer. Grey Vetiver, Eros can make an exception. Linsumi for sure. Equus, Milestone, Iconic. Ferragamo Bright Leather. Celestial, Afro Leather somewhat. Musk Therapy. Valentino Uomo Intense. Amir Sadrat Essence, Sacrat. Presence. Vibrant Vetiver Delight. All these DNAs, Elysium is better than. When we look at upscale, sophisticated, freshly with charm, the Elysium DNA is top 5 must-have DNAs in your fragrance collection. I don't care if we're talking designer, niche, or in a lot of ways, people talk about the fact that Acqua di Gio Armani is a must-have, one of the most versatile fragrances of all time in the designer category. It is a timeless DNA, an ageless DNA, any season, any reason, so much utility, right? Elysium is an upgrade from ADG and still covers all those bases. Any season, any reason, any occasion. It can fit any occasion except for a funeral. But in fairness, if you wore it at a funeral, you might make some people actually smile, contrary to the occasion. And yeah, it just smells richer than Acqua di Gio. More luxurious. It hits playful, but it also hits upscale masculine. I mean, what's to not like about, you know, a citrus basket with sophisticated vetiver and warm amber, slightly aquatic? It's just a must-have. What up, William? What up, Greenlee? What up, Joel? Do you have Terre de Hermes? Yes. What about it? What's up, man? Hope all is well. Do you mess with Dua? What's your thoughts on them? I'm going to be honest, NY. I personally don't mess with Dua. I'm still in my investigative stance with Dua because Dua has some killers. And I know they have some killers because a lot of the people that I really respect, I've been watching their channels closely, and I've been seeing the killers. And the only reason I don't pull the trigger on them is because they're pricier. They're definitely affordable, but they're pricey enough for me where I'm still looking at everybody's like top 3 Duas. And everybody seems to have a different top 3 Dua. So for me, I'm just laying in the cut right now for probably like another 6 months. Keep listening to what people keep saying is good, kind of narrow down the general consensus on the top 3, and then I'll pull the trigger on them. If I can get my hands on a 10-piece discovery set that's less than like 60 bucks, then I'll scoop it up for the channel. But other than that, I'm not blind picking up any Dua fragrances because they are hit or miss. I got our Moth Mandarin Sky. I enjoy the Mandarin Orange Blast in the opening. Yeah, it's pretty good. You know, it's slightly above average. I give it an 8 out of 10. Best long-lasting fresh fragrance, Versace Eros EDT, without question. Highest compliment factor from women in the world. This fragrance has shot out any fragrance on the street by 90% or better. Women want this fragrance. They want to smell it on a man. It's the most complimented, most versatile spring, summer freshie, and it could still go into fall, winter. Best long-lasting designer fresh fragrance. What else we got? Let me scroll down. Top 5 out of my 50 clones. William, if you can say a fragrance is your top 5 out of your 50 fragrances in one day of wear, I highly put your entire collection in question. Because think about it. If you had any bangers in your collection, the question is how good, the question is how could you possibly have one wearing with a fragrance and you just know it's better than 50 fragrances in one wearing? I'm going to screenshot your recommendation just so I can do a little bit of research. But that is a huge reach. Scent of the day, Liam Gray, nice. Greenlee, have you tried the Liam Gray combo with Oud Wood yet? I'm just curious. What would you say are the other 4 must-have DNAs in every collection after Elysium? That's a very good question. You have to have a Dumb Reach seasonless fragrance. So you have to have an Aqua di Gio equivalent. So you have to walk down the lines of either marine aquatic or aquatic / linen / soapy fragrance, right? So the problem with freshies, you can go fresh green, fresh floral, fresh linen, fresh soapy. The problem with those fragrances is typically performance and masculinity. A lot of those fragrances aren't necessarily very masculine in terms of sophistication. They're just masculine because they're clean, but that's not really a masculine DNA. That's just gender neutral, So the reason Aqua di Gio reigns supreme is that it scratches the itch of the out of the shower, every day, every occasion, dumb reach category, but it also is highly sophisticated and super masculine. So you need a fragrance replacement for an Aqua di Gio DNA, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a marine aquatic. It can be some sort of freshie with charm category. So every day you can wear it, any season, any occasion, great performer, etc. You need something for that DNA. Fresh masculine. Then you need your date night fragrance. So I don't care if you're single, prowling on chicks. I don't care if you got a girlfriend. I don't care if you're married. You need I'm dressing up, going to dinner, or I'm dressing up and doing nightlife. So nightlife, seductive, sensual fragrance, which will be your lady killer fragrance. So sophisticated, masculine, freshie, lady killer fragrance. You need your, I think you need a good blue. The blue is going to be your complementary fragrance to the fresh fragrance because a blue is fresh, but a blue is very specifically blue. So you need to go on your fresh fragrance. You need to go fresh green or fresh soapy or fresh citrus or fresh aquatic. On the blue fragrance, you need to just be blue. So that's typically like an aquatic green or an aquatic earthy type of fragrance that just is more dumb reach than the freshie. It's kind of like the special occasion freshie where you want a little bit more curb appeal. So I think you need 2 variations of a freshie dumb reach fragrance. Maybe you go one more masculine, one more playful, or maybe you just use them to accent each other. A very nice blue combination, a very nice upscale freshie combination. Then you have your date night fragrance. Then I think you need I think you need something earthy. So something with dimension, something that includes any of the following: vetiver heavy, oak moss heavy, vetiver heavy, oak moss heavy, like a heavy woody fragrance, like a cedar or a birch based fragrance. So something with a super earthy base of some sort: oak moss, woods, incense, some type of heavy greenery. You need a rich, earthy, masculine fragrance that isn't a freshie. So this would be something like a super star-studded type of fragrance that almost fits date night, but isn't seductive. It needs to be seductive in its power masculine DNA, but has no softness to it at all. Just straight business prow fragrance. Then you need an office fragrance. So even if you don't work in an office, you need, well, you really don't need an office fragrance, but for a guy like me, you need an office fragrance. So office is optional. I would say another one you need is a unique fragrance. You need something that is off the beaten path, something that people don't typically isn't a DNA that people are typically familiar with. So for instance, Club de Nuit Milestone is a great signature fragrance because a lot of people aren't familiar with super masculine rendering of red fruits and watermelon. That's super off beaten path. You run into 100 guys, none of them is going to have a DNA like that. What else? You have Initio's Oud for Glory or Oud for Greatness. Highly unique, right? No one's going to smell like this. No one's going to have a oud noted fragrance that's super fresh. You know, your Hassavat DNA. I'm going to give you an example of a 5 fragrance lineup that would be an incredible starter pack for someone with $150, right? So I'm going to go Bulgari Man in Black, Aqua di Gio, Lalique White, Grey Vetiver, okay, here we go. And I'm gonna, oh, whoa. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna put Grey Vetiver back so I can swap that out for my date night killer, which is, let's say like, okay, here we go. So I'm gonna show you a 5 fragrance lineup that would be an incredible starter kit for an individual. And I'll walk through each fragrance and why I chose them. The 5 fragrances is Aqua di Gio Armani Eau de Parfum, Kismet by Maison Alhambra, which is YSL Tuxedo, Bulgari Man in Black, Amir Celestial, which is Cloning Ganymede, and Lalique White. So again, we talked about 2 freshy variants, right? And I said you need to have a blue and an earthy freshie. That's not always the case. If we wanted to go blue, maybe we can replace and go something like this. So let's do that. So first freshie is going to be Club de Nuit Iconic, which is going to be Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum with way more performance. Or you could just straight get Bleu de Chanel. Blue earthy fragrance. Okay? This is any season, any reason, hyper masculine, sophisticated, extremely earthy and fresh. Best out of the shower fragrance, dumb reach. Go out and do your day and do damage. You're not just going to smell fresh, but you're going to smell classy. Fresh, classy. When you want a fresh variant, like a work fragrance or something just clean and inoffensive, but isn't trying to be extremely loud, you just want the ultimate clean fragrance. So again, Bleu de Chanel is going to kind of be your upscale version of your freshie. Your low scale version of your freshie would be something like Lalique White, which basically smells like linen, soap, and a tiny touch of spices and florals. This smells like a $400 bar of soap. Okay, so I'm wearing this every single day in this example. And then anytime so I'm wearing this every single day, right? I'm smelling clean, I'm smelling fresh, but I'm also smelling a little bit luxurious. This smells upscale compared to any soap or linen-based fragrance, wearing this every single day. But then twice a week or something, I'm gonna offset that clean fragrance with a blue fragrance. Still going fresh, but now I have a little bit more signature and I smell a little bit richer, but I'm still dumb reach any season, any reason. And I'm going to war with these all year, right? These 2 right here, killing it. And these 2 fragrances for 40 bucks, I get both of them. So now we're at 40 bucks. Now I need my occasion-based fragrances. And the first occasion is obviously going to be date night. So then for my date night, I might grab something like, you know what, we can actually replace this. I'm going to make it audible real quick. Got it. Okay. So then the third fragrance is going to be your date night fragrance. And typically with date night, if you want to be basic but still smell rich, the best DNA to go with for date night of all time, no question, is going to be vanilla, amber, and spices. There are many niche designer and clone fragrances that fall in this line. So I don't care which fragrance you pick, you need a vanilla amber spices based fragrance. I don't care if it's Spice Bomb. I don't care if it's Tom Ford Noir. I don't care if it's Noir Extreme. I don't care if it's Givenchy Gentleman Reserve Privé. I don't care if it's Gucci Guilty. I don't care if it's Sauvage Elixir. Doesn't matter. For me, I'm going with YSL Tuxedo DNA because you're going to smell rich. It's kind of got that Casino Royale James Bond feel, but sweeter. This is vanilla, this is amber, this is spices, and this is booze. So this is ballroom, date night, highly seductive. This will intoxicate her type of fragrance. So anytime I'm going as a single guy, or I got my girl, or I'm married, I don't care which type of guy you are, you put this fragrance on, it's seductive, she'll be close to you, she'll be all over you, and you got a nice, loud, signature date night fragrance. So we went over fresh, we went over upscale, classy fresh, then we went date night. Now you're going to have your super signature fragrance that nobody has. That's an absolute killer. This needs to be a fragrance that no one else smells like at all. And I don't care which direction you go, but it can't be fresh. Typically, a super duper signature needs to fall dominantly in winter, fall, because you're covering the spring summer season already with your two freshies. So typically your star-studded signature fragrance needs to be dominant in winter, fall, because you need to cover that side of the season. So I just randomly picked Ombre Noir from Lalique. What is this? This is resinous, woody, ambery, vanillic cognac. Okay? So technically I could wear this in a date night scenario as well, but it is so highly signature. This is what I bust out on special occasions. So hold on a second. And what's interesting here is the notes that are so signature here is the cognac in the tobacco. Amber, resins, tobacco, and cognac. I could use this in a lounge, hookah lounge, cigar lounge, anything super classy. Like maybe I'm rolling up in a casino. Maybe I'm, taking a limousine. Star-studded signature fragrance that you only bust out maybe once or twice a month, right? So it could still go for date night, but this is just more of your rogue signature fragrance that sits kind of in the winter. And then a unique fragrance, right? So my unique fragrance, and it can, now again, we have two date night fragrances that are dominantly indoor cold weather / winter fragrances, and we have two fresh fragrances in the form of a white fragrance and a blue fragrance. So now I want something that's basically year round in my unique category. So unique in that no one will smell like it, but I still need it to be seasonless because this is going to be the fragrance that I rotate out of my two combo run. So if in the fall I'm bouncing between tuxedo and noir, I might bounce this in between it. If I'm in my everyday go or my blue category and I want to rotate it out, I need something that can go either way. So something like Amir Celestial, mineralic, suede, violet leaf. This smells like a fragrance straight out of heaven. So I could technically rock this in the winter, fall, even though it shines better in warmer climates, but it can go any direction and it's just highly signature. So the only thing you're not really covering with something like this is probably like think about the different categories, right? Fougere, right? What's the Fougere? What's something out of this 5-star lineup that can hit the Fougere? Lalique White. Because it's an upscale, modern Fougere, we hit that category. Fresh category, this and Bleu de Chanel. Fresh fragrance, that and Bleu de Chanel and the Ganymede clone. Date night, we've got Tuxedo, and then we've got a highly signature Ombre Noir, which can go guys night or highly seductive signature date night fragrance because it's essentially vanillic, resinous amber. And then what makes it star-studded is the fact that it has tobacco and cognac. It's a knock your socks off type of fragrance. And then the unique fragrance is the Ganymede because it's like a floral, heavenly, freshy with suede. So you get this hyper masculine rendering of an extremely deep earthy fragrance and a soft powdery touch of sweetness. It's just a comboed out fragrance. So you got a fragrance for any holiday. Thanksgiving and Christmas is going to be your more seductive fragrances. You've got dimensions of freshness, and then you have a super unique fragrance you can dip in and out of them. That's a 5 fragrance collection right there that costs 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. $130 buys those 5 fragrances, and you've pretty much covered everything. You might not have a gym. No, it covers gym fragrance as well. You might not have like a holiday fragrance, but technically the cognac covers that. You've got a spicy fragrance. You've got a leather fragrance. You've got a tobacco fragrance. You've got a fresh fragrance. You've got a vanillic fragrance. Yeah, man. Those 5 right there would be a killer collection. I'm going to check the chat right now, guys. I apologize. But that's like a really killer affordable lineup right there. $130, you have a 500 ml fragrances that can go to war in pretty much any circumstance. The only fragrance type I didn't really have there was tropical. We pretty much hit everything. So sorry, guys. Let's catch up. What would you recommend for the wedding in Florida in June? If it were my collection and I could only recommend fragrances in my collection, okay, I'm gonna give you some recommendations out of my collection that I would wear. And all of these facilitate hyper-masculine, seductive, fresh, long-lasting. Armaf Peugeot 1. Dumb Reach, this is a killer at a wedding. 100%, 10 hours plus fragrance. You can dance, you can sing, you can congratulate, you can hug. Your scent will be everywhere. Armaf Peugeot is probably going to be at the number 1. This is one of the best designer renditions of Layton I've ever seen. Layton is also a universal socks knocker offer in the wedding category. Unisex, so a lot of women that'll come up to you will really think you smell seductive, but there's so much dimension to it, it has to be masculine. This would be an incredible fragrance, though you'd have to put on 15 sprays on a wedding night because you're going to need a fragrance that can last. These 2 fragrances are essentially the same thing, in my opinion. Bulgari Man in Black and Black Orchid Clone. So I would say if you don't like the Black Orchid DNA because Black Orchid is coming off too feminine for you, the orchid aspect of this, then Bulgari Man in Black would be an incredible fragrance. It's basically Prada Luna Rossa Black with better performance. It's mysterious, it's dark, it's soft leathery, it's slightly sweet. I mean, it smells exactly how the color looks, but it's one of the more softer renderings of it. Super sophisticated, vetiver, amber, etc. This is a killer. But I would actually wear the Black Orchid DNA over it. Or if you want this to just have as much performance as Black Orchid, you put 1 spray of Zara Man on, and then you put about 10 sprays of this on, and that would be an absolute killer, in my opinion. This is another signature fragrance. There's something seductive about this on a wedding night. She's going to smell vanilla, like the tiniest bit of vanilla. Like we're talking 10, 20% vanilla. Then she's going to smell amber, dark red resins, tobacco, incense, and cognac. Bro, you ever seen a movie Wedding Crashers? This is the Wedding Crasher fragrance right here. Lalique Ombre Noir. Highly signature. No one's going to smell. Bro, you're going to smell like You're going to smell like John Wayne, the Marlboro Man, and John Wayne reincarnated as Denzel Washington in Training Day. But you know what I'm saying? A DNA like this, a lot of you guys are shy guys. You know what I'm saying? You can't stick your neck out with fragrances. You're not trying to smell like the best guy in the room. You're just trying to fit in. This ain't no fit in fragrance. This is like, look, I'm one of the coolest people at this wedding, whether y'all like it or not. This fragrance right here, you got to have some nuts on you to rock that. And that's just what it is. But if you want to play it safe, you'll still knock some socks down with Peugeot 1. But if I were you, I'd put some smoky woods under it in the form of Encre Noir a la Extreme. So that you smell closer to a Ventus Absolute, but you probably don't have the ability to combo out. What up, Isaac? So after a little bit, Scepter Malachite has grown on me so much. I'm glad you like it. Glad you like it, Isaac. That Man in Black DNA is so fire. I'm telling you, bro. And let me tell you something even crazier. I'm going to make a really bold statement, guys. Zara Man is technically on paper, which is a clone, better than Bulgari Man in Black. Yes, I said it. And this is more expensive, and I love this to death. But Zara Man is better than this, and they virtually smell like the same thing. The only difference is Zara Man has the black orchid note in it. It is a dark, chocolatey, slightly purple flowery, sweet floral note on top of that dark, vetivery, seductive, slight powdery, vibe. This has weaker performance than this as well. So this has stronger performance. It's got a more unique signature with the black orchid note on the top, but this is safer for people who don't have the nuts to wear black orchid. This is black orchid without the orchid. And it's still much better than Prada Black. So I say that to say this, guys. If I'm looking to be more signature, I'm going with this. However, if I'm just looking to give this a little bit more performance and give it a little push, I'll put one spray of this on my chest and then put like 10 of this around it. So I still mostly smell like Bulgari, but one spray of this will probably add 2 hours of performance to the fragrance, which you absolutely are going to need during a date night. I might venture to even hit myself twice with Zara if I want to wear Bulgari Man in Black, but I wouldn't. I would wear Black Orchid all day. Your fragrance knowledge is phenomenal. Thank you, Nabil. No other content creator is doing what you do. We appreciate your work. Thank you, NYC. Appreciate you guys. Listen, I know it takes me a while to get through these questions, but if I'm going to talk long on one question that might seem dumb to you guys, it's because I think there's a concept in it that you guys can all gather. Like me pulling out 5 fragrances for $130 that I think would just be an incredible starter pack for a fragrance collection, and what I think are the essentials. Well, if you're in high heat or you're outdoors a lot, you need 2 fresh fragrances. You need a date night fragrance. You need an absolute knock your socks off signature, and then you need a unique fragrance that's not necessarily a signature fragrance, but it's the one you bust out that can go up and down the seasons with you and sprinkle it in. A blue fragrance. The importance of a blue fragrance is it's kind of like a sophisticated fresh fragrance, but you can't wear, even though you can wear Bleu de Chanel every day, you really shouldn't wear Bleu de Chanel every day. Bleu de Chanel should be a complementary fragrance to like an everyday army fragrance. You know what I'm saying? Like a fresh fragrance you're wearing all the time, and then every other day or every 2 days you're sprinkling Bleu de Chanel in there. And now people are seeing the elevation, you know what I'm saying? And talking through that just gives you guys like kind of why I pick my fragrances. I could tell you very intimate stories and use cases and why you should. There's almost nothing on this shelf that I wouldn't recommend. It's just what would I recommend more? Maison Francis Kirkjohn Amorous. What do you think? Let me go get it. So the only amorous that I have is the Extrait. And this is why it pisses me off, because people don't think, when you guys ask me and you see this collection and you see there's a lot of clonery in here and in some designer, in some niche, a lot of people think, well, you don't have the niche fragrances that you're talking about. I do, and that's why I show them to you guys. I'm very picky on designer and niche fragrances. I don't pull the trigger unless it absolutely blows my socks off. But nonetheless, I do have every niche fragrance that is the inspiration of any clone that I have here on my shelf. So with Amorous, you can see I've really run through this 15 ml, but I keep it around just to remind myself of this DNA. It's a kind of luxurious bath bubble water Johnson and Johnson soda, right? It's got candied fruits in it. It's got a carbonation effect to it. Again, this is the Extrait de Parfum. Amorous is absolutely incredible. It is one of the best unisex niche fragrances out there. But it's not for everybody, because to tell you guys what Amorous smells like in a nutshell, imagine a carbonated soda, so like a club soda, plain clear soda with carbonation, and you just sprinkled like some white florals in it, and maybe like a drop of extract from a pack of gummy bears. It smells like a soda that is flavored with a slight bit of gummy bears and a slight bit of white floral to it. So it's got this kind of candied, clear soda carbonative type of smell. So for that reason, it's not a unisex fragrance for everybody. Some men might think this is feminine leaning, but I would argue against that and say that it is so signature that it doesn't matter if it's feminine leaning. No one's going to smell like you. And we have Freshy with Charm. So we have Freshy fragrances, Freshy with Charm fragrances, and then we have luxurious Freshy fragrances. So 3 different categories of fresh fragrances, and within them you can have different variants. So on the basic beginner Freshy side, you can walk a line of soapy, green, earthy, spicy, citric, floral, fruity. Okay, there's a scale in basic Freshy. Then upscale Freshy is any of those fragrances with something added to it for a little bit more dimension. So for instance, and we'll get back to Amorous in a second. Amorous is worth the money, but if you don't have more than 30 fragrances in your collection, don't waste money on Amorous. You're not there yet. What were we talking about? Oh, the Freshy chart in my mind. So you have Freshy, right? And then you have all those different types. So you can have, again, this is an example. Fresh citrus, fresh fruity, fresh aquatic, fresh floral, fresh green, fresh soapy, or any combination of any of those within the fresh category. So a Freshy with Charm is any of those fragrances or combinations of those accords with something extra added to it to make it more luxurious, right? Like an Elysium. Elysium is a great example because it's essentially a fresh citrus fragrance that mixes vetiver woods, which it's really a root, but I call it vetiver woods because it's mostly referred to like a woody accord, with vetiver and amber. So it's a Freshy citric with charm. So I categorize it as a Freshy with charm. It's doing a little bit more than Freshy category. Luxurious Freshy is doing both of those at a very multi-dimensional level. So you're not just combining and smelling expensive, but then you're adding like complete signature to it to where it's something. So some people could argue that Elysium is a niche fragrance and fits in luxurious, and I wouldn't be mad at that. But for me, there's so many designer Freshie with Charm DNAs that scratch it that it's becoming less and less signature as a DNA. So so like let's look at something like Amorous. Amorous is luxurious Freshie because it's essentially a white linen, white floral Freshie in this category. Then what takes it into Freshie with Charm is like red fruits, which is unique in and of itself, but that would still just make it Freshie with Charm. But then what takes it to signature or luxurious Freshie is it somehow has a carbonation spritzy feel on it. Like it's 3D. It doesn't just smell flat. It's like this literally smells like a luxury carbonated soda. So it's just like it's already almost super signature with the red fruits and white floral combo because that's just not a normal pairing. And then they add a 3D effect to it by making it like carbonated and like almost you can taste the sugar crystals in it. And that brings it over to luxurious. It's a 10+ hour fragrance to me, at least 8 to 10 hours. And it's pretty much seasonless and genderless. So that's my psyche behind fresh fragrances. I don't think you need a luxurious Freshie, but I think if you live in an area where you've got moderate climate or high heat or whatever, you have to actually go to 2 Freshies. So you shouldn't have 2 basic Freshies. You should have a Freshie and a Freshie with Charm, and then leave it at that. And then as you build into your collection, you can put the luxurious Freshie after. So now you have 3 warm weather based fragrances that you have a utility fragrance and then 2 to offset 1 special occasion Freshie. Maybe, they had the Phoenix Open here in Arizona recently. So you'd want to wear a fresh fragrance outdoors with people golfing and drinking and all that stuff, but you're not going to want a basic Freshie. It won't perform. Your Freshie with Charm is going to smell good, but is not really signature. You won't really stand out. So you still need a Freshie fragrance that's highly unique, that can perform, that doesn't smell like everybody else. Now we're talking about a multifaceted fragrance that is nothing, you can't compare it to a Freshie with Charm or a Freshie, but it's important to have those categories. And then you can make that type of thing for any category. So Freshie is like that. Then with date night, you have casual daytime date, you have nighttime date, you have like I'm hitting on you date, you have this is my girl date, where you guys are established and you don't have to have as much like draw to the fragrance. You just need to compliment your woman. So you have temperature differences in date night fragrances. You have how expensive the date is. Like there's a difference between taking your girl to In-N-Out versus taking her to a movie theater versus taking her to a different city like Vegas or something to celebrate. I would have 3 different tiers of fragrances for that. But nonetheless, you should have a basic date night fragrance and then a luxurious date night fragrance. So like my basic date night fragrance might be something like Low Midiol Extreme, cherry almond champagne. If I actually had the real Low Midiol Extreme and not a clone, this might be more signature scent worthy. But I think the DNA, light, airy cherry almond champagne is almost like it's not casual date night, but in my collection it is. So I might, now this wouldn't be my first fragrance. If I was hitting on a girl, I wouldn't go cherries and almond because that's too specific. But if she was my girl, and we're established, I might pop out with something like this. If you want to be safe, though, you can pop out with Dior Homme Intense, or you could pop out with Sauvage Elixir. You could pop out with, Creed Aventus or whatever. Just safe but signature, right? But then you need your lady killer fragrance. You know what I'm saying? Like you need your Dior Homme Intense or your Tuxedo or your Hasavat, or like something like this. This is a lady killer fragrance. Or Memo Paris's African Leather or Afro Leather by Maison Alhambra. You need something that ramps up the level of occasion that it is. So Anyway, I'm over talking. I'm going to answer questions and then we're going to sign off in a little bit. Lalique is a designer, Omar. Neroli sandalwood vetiver. I don't wear those types of fragrances, Jungle, so I hesitate to recommend something because I have a couple of good recommendations, but because I don't own them, I would never recommend a fragrance I don't own. So, you know, I don't really mess with neroli-based fragrances. It's just a preference. It's nothing against neroli. But yeah, sandalwood vetiver, you might want to try Milestone or Millesime Imperial. That's a sandalwood vetiver fragrance, but you're not going to get neroli, but you'll still get a luxurious, aromatic, airy, fresh type of vibe to it. Instead of neroli, you might get a neroli-esque feel with something like Amir Celestial. No sandalwood, but that could scratch that itch for you as well. I don't know what's in this Linsumi, but no, Linsumi is not a good recommendation. Maybe Lalique White as well. I'm not a big fan of neroli and where it sits in fresh fragrances, but I'm an idiot, so don't listen to me. Linsumi would be a great pickup, but it's very green, SoCal. Just be warned. What cologne do you expect a jazz singer? Liam Gray or Gris Charnel by BDK? Or Jazz Club by Replica? What up, Sense IRL? Gourmand fragrance. The only gourmands that I carry, and they're just borderline gourmands, not true gourmands, are 3 fragrances. Kamarakawa, smells like a fragrance for a coffee shop, caramel latte. Amir Fire Your Desire, vanilla, spices, praline, and cognac. So it's tasty, but it's not all the way gourmand. Or Black Orchid, which has cacao, and the cacao orchid powder combo kind of comes off like a chocolate cake. So those 3 DNAs is really all I have that's gourmand. I really stay away from gourmand unless it's drenched in alcohol. I copped that Privé Illusion Intense for that $15. Holla. Hey, bro. Let me know what you think about it, bro. Privé Illusion, I have expensive fragrances. Privé Illusion for 15 bucks is a steal. Nautica Voyage, I wouldn't mess with. What are your favorite floral fragrances that men can pull off that will turn heads? Amir Celestial. Even though, you know, one of my viewers did try this fragrance and they said it was a bit feminine for them, so I recommended throwing Oud Wood by Tom Ford under it to freshen it up. But, you know, it is a unisex fragrance, so you always tread with caution with florals. But for me, Musk Therapy from Initio or French Avenue's Glorious Oud Royal Blanc. This is that Musk Therapy clone. To me, I turn heads with this. Ganymede or Amir Celestial. I turn heads with this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's a floral-based suede fragrance. You know, Iris is a floral. So Diorome Intense DNA or Diorome Parfum with Gary's Den right here is an extreme head turner. Technically, Black Orchid is a floral fragrance that is a head turner. A little bit like chocolate cake or a purple flower, sitting on heavy doses of patchouli. You know, so those are some floral killers, man. If you want to mess with rose, Oud Satin Mood, although I educate you to tread with caution, not every man can wear Oud. This is a 1 or 2 spray killer, but Bulgarian rose, perhaps Taif rose, even though I don't think it has Taif. I think it's Bulgarian rose and Turkish rose. So jammy, powdery, seductive rose oud fragrance. Another floral that turns heads quite a bit. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Just ordered Zara Man. Dude, I'm excited for you, SoCal. That's a challenging fragrance for you, man. I'm excited to see what you think. Joel, thank you for giving these guys recommendations. Can you recommend a manly cotton candy that's unique and signature, 25 and up? Cotton candy. Cotton candy. I think the closest thing to cotton candy is gonna be, I don't have anything that smells like cotton candy in my fragrance collection, but perhaps in my decants, Amorous Extrait from Maison Francis Kirkjohn is going to be probably the closest thing to cotton candy you're going to find. I know there's one other fragrance that I'm missing. Lua from Xerjoff. So Lua from Xerjoff or Amorous are in that realm because they have candied fruits in them. There's no such thing as manly cotton candy. That's like saying I'm looking for a, I don't know. When I got that 9 p.m., okay, ultra male DNA, I see, SoCal got Zara Man too, and it smells like an older black lady wearing a purple outfit and white gloves, IMO, letting it macerate. You know, if I'm being honest with you guys, 20-year-olds are not ready to wear floral fragrances. I'm just going to say that. If you're a 20-year-old and you genuinely feel like you don't relate to a lot of the 20-year-old men your age, I don't care if it's 21 to 29, if you feel like you don't really relate and you kind of only have friends that are 30 plus, you might be ready to mess with florals. But I'm going to be quite honest with you guys, and that's why if I have floral-based fragrances on my channel, when I actually go to do the real breakdowns, I never recommend floral fragrances for anyone under the age of 29. They're not ready for it yet. You're still not tired of, hold on. I'm going to explain why, guys. This isn't a judgment, even though it is. Let me have a heart-to-heart with you guys for a second. Let's get away from the fragrances. Can I turn off the lights? Good grief. Let's just turn my lights on. Okay. So this is the thing, right? And again, we are generalizing here. We are not, there's exceptions to every rule. And if you're not mature enough to understand that, then you're the person I'm speaking to, because you have to know that my opinion is my opinion, right? It's based off my experiences. You know, I work with kids a lot. I'm a mentor to a lot of people. I'm 36 years old. I had a 6-year degree, so I went all through college, all through high school, various clubs, played sports. I'm a hip hop artist, so I've done a lot of music related endeavors. I'm outside. I'm involved in a lot of stuff. So I have a lot of social experience with the fragrance conversation. I'm not just speaking my opinion. I find that men under 29 are still deeply fascinated and intrigued with DNAs that I used to enjoy when I was a teenager or in my early 20s. These DNAs include, but are not restricted to, heavy citrus fragrances, citrus aquatics, vanilla spiced fragrances, and blue fragrances. When you look at and tropical fragrances, which to me falls under citrus, but it's not just citrus, you know, it's vanilla, it's coconut, it's so, you know, a lot of guys under 29 typically gravitate towards fragrance houses and lines such as Jean Paul Gaultier. They like just about everything from the line. Prada Luna Rosa line, they like most of it. Valentino line, they like most of it. Gucci, they like most of it. They're still fascinated by metallic fragrances, anything from the Gucci line, Silver Mountain Water, stuff like that. The reason Creed Aventus is so popular amongst the young people is for only one reason, and that's that it has pineapple in it. When young men smell the birch and the oak moss and the smokiness, they don't love that part of the fragrance, which is why most men under 29 actually are starting to prefer Versace Eros Energy, because they want to smell fruity, rooty tooty, fresh and fruity. They don't care about they're not dating women who require that they make a good salary. They don't have kids. I mean, I'm reaching here, guys, but it's just like younger people are fascinated with DNAs that typically older men who have been in fragrance longer are simply bored of. I am bored of purely citric fragrances. I'm bored of the following DNAs: citruses on woods, citrus aquatic, linen, clean, soapy fragrances, vanillic spices, saffron fragrances, blue fragrances. I'm bored. I'm bored. No, I haven't smelled every citrus on woods. No, I haven't smelled every blue. No, I haven't smelled every aquatic. No, I haven't smelled every vanillic spicy, but I'm bored of them. You start to smell those accords over and over and over and over and over again, and what you find is that stuff that used to annoy you actually intrigues you. In my early 20s, I would have never enjoyed leather. I would have never enjoyed mineralic. I would have never enjoyed suede. I would have never enjoyed white florals, yellow florals, purple florals, let alone rose. I would have never enjoyed oud. I would have never enjoyed vetiver. I would have never enjoyed resins. I would have never enjoyed smoky woods. I rarely would have liked tobacco and don't be one of those guys who's like, I wear Le Male Elixir. I like tobacco. It's like, bro, that's not a tobacco fragrance. There's almost no visible tobacco in Le Male Elixir. It's a super bottom of the list accord that tickles you a little bit to make it feel a little bit more masculine, but essentially it's a vanilla honey fragrance. So it's like, I can see, again, the reason I brought this up is because somebody mentioned how they felt about Black Orchid. And that's why I always, if you guys hear me talking about Black Orchid, I'm always pairing what fragrance with it. And this is why I'm like a savant with this stuff. When you guys hear me talking about Black Orchid, I always say what? If you are somebody who is intimidated by the sweet floral nature of the Black Orchid, which is a star accord of this fragrance, but you like the dark, seductive powder patchouli that this has, then go with what fragrance? Bulgari Man in Black, because it is exactly Tom Ford's Black Orchid without the Black Orchid. You get the dark, you get the slight sweet, you get the powder, you get the patchouli, the vetiver, the amber, but it doesn't make you feel like a woman. The sophistication that men think about in fragrance is best illustrated in this example. You guys always hear me say, if you're bringing a girl over to your house, what your candles smell like will determine what you understand about the dynamic between a man and a woman. Because if you tell me right now that the candles in your house when she comes over is going to smell like citrus or linen or tropical or fruity, you don't get the psychology. When men tap into florals and seductive elements of fragrance, you're trying to build contrasting ideas. The idea of robust, powerful masculinity and soft, feminine edges dancing around it. But what young people do is they wear a lot of fragrances that are dominantly feminine and then tickle the edges with masculine touches. And that's what changes as you get older, is the roles reverse. You want manpower up front, tickled in feminine accords, and I say that term very loosely, and that's just what it is. You want to smell more sophistication. You want stuff off the beaten path. I'm done. Thank you, CJ. I've tried Art of Universe. I've tried Art of the Universe, and it's not Blue Talisman, but it's a really great attempt, and it's got incredible performance. It definitely beats out Taj 2. Well, you got to understand, Joel, when you were in your teens, Nixon was still in office. When you were a teen, your fragrance store only carried 5 fragrances. And back then, they weren't making fragrances for teenagers. They were making fragrances for 30 and 40-year-old men. So all your fragrances were going to smell like Drakkar, Dior Eau Sauvage, so super green, super peppery, Fahrenheit, or Fougere renderings. Back then you didn't really have, and maybe aquatic citrics, but men in my day were not wearing aquatic citrics. Men in my life growing up only wore Fougeres and smoky fragrances and super green fragrances. They didn't even have the teenage category in fragrance back then. I actually just reviewed Aqua Dubai tonight. That's a good combo, SoCal. Nice. I'm so glad you guys are talking. Yeah, no, I understand, Riles. And listen, I get it, man. I get it. Black Orchid it's perfectly unisex, but for a man who doesn't have a lot of sweet floral fragrances, it's like a lot of young guys have a hard time wearing Dior Homme Intense, which is because it has such a loud projection of soft, sweet floral lavender and iris that they're uncomfortable with it. Gris Charnel. Most men can't wear Gris Charnel. It's too floral. Black Orchid is floral as well. I would say it's less feminine leaning than Dior Homme Intense because there's so much patchouli and kind of dark vibes under it. But you know, that I get it. Trust me, I get it, man. I think your first impression of it is spot on, but grown men look at that side of it and actually get excited because it's something the girl can connect to. I'm at the bottom of the list, by the way, on the chat. You don't think 1 million elixir is strong? That's an 8-hour plus fragrance for me. I feel like that's splitting hairs a bit. You know, Club Black might get you 10 plus hours, but 1 million elixir at least get me 8. Well, Greenlee, you have a lot of options, buddy. I mean, a casual dinner, I would go with a luxurious freshie, you know? Elysium, Carlisle, Pegasus exclusive, Amorous. If you have Chanel Coromandel, I didn't see any Chanel in your collection. Tom Ford, you know, something like Original Noir. But I saw you had a lot of Parfums de Marly, so I would lean towards, you know, Carlisle or Sedley or Pegasus exclusive. Or sorry, Leighton exclusive, not Pegasus exclusive. Yeah. Nice. Nice, Lachlan. Hey, Equus is nice too, brother. Equus is nice. You might have to put 15 sprays of Equus on, but it's nice too. A good play on Equus is to put Armoff's Milestone, 1 spray under it, and then dress Equus around it. That would be a killer play. It's another combo I haven't revealed yet. Any last minute questions, guys? I was actually a big fan of Gucci Elixir. Oh, 8 and Bob Egypt is something serious. 8 and Bob Egypt is something serious, boys. I'm never popping out with 1 million elixir unless I'm spraying 6 to 8 sprays. All on skin, nothing on clothes. I'm going neck, I'm going arms, I'm going chest. 8 and Bob Egypt is something serious. Even Narciso Rodriguez Blue Noir. Those two sit hand in hand to me. 8 and Bob Blue Noir is 8 and Bob but blue. Put that Narciso Rodriguez in your life. Any last minute questions, boys? I'm scared to get a clone of Gucci Guilty Elixir. I'm scared. Yeah, 8 and Bob Egypt is serious. Parfum. Parfum. Bleu Noir Le Parfum. Angel Share Altair. I feel Angel Share. I had Kismet Magic is too feminine. Are you saying Angel Share or Altair? I don't know, John. I'm not sure on that one. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Angel Share is nice, but the clone is better to me. Altair is nice as well, but Altair has some really nice clones out as well. I don't find the originals to be better, to be honest. Killian has a lot of great fragrances. Black Phantom, Icy Roses on Ice or something, Angel Share. But it really just depends on how much sweet fragrance you can handle. Even Appletini is nice. Oh, yeah. Hey, Riles, we love having you, man. We love having, listen, I don't care if I disagree with you. I don't care what it is, man. The community in here is phenomenal. It might only be 10 to 30 people in here at a time, but they all know what the heck they're talking about, can recommend fragrances. Even if we have disagreements, it's all in love. We send each other fragrances. Everybody's dope, man. Greenlee, always appreciate you moderating. Joel, always appreciate you moderating. Appreciate everybody who's constantly making recommendations to people while I'm filibustering between questions. And love y'all, man. Really appreciate y'all. Yeah, I'll screenshot it, Omar. I'll screenshot it. Appreciate you guys, man. Love y'all for hanging out. Until next time, this is the Scent Bubble signing out. I like this view right here. This picture is nice. We might go live from this perspective next time.